Hi guys, if it's Friday, it's Down and Dirty Woodscraft. Stay with me. Alright guys, this is a redo because I mentioned in a recent video I've got new computers and new software, and so if my mouth isn't exactly lining up perfect, I'm sorry. I'm learning, and I've got new software, a brand new computer, brand new running system, all of it, and I'm trying to work out some of the little details like that sync. Okay, it's not off bad, but it is off a little bit, so I'm sorry. I'm trying to work it out. And why this is a redo is I already shot this video during the day. And then when I went to put it up and put it in and do all my editing and do all my stuff and went to do the export, when I hit the export, it deleted it. I had mistakenly put it into a file that I had deleted, so when it said that file's deleted, it deleted it. I'm learning. So this is a redo at 11:30 at night on Thursday night, and I got to be out of here early in the morning, so this is going to be fast, down, and dirty, I'm telling you. Alright, what I'm wanting to talk about today is stoves, okay? When we talk about going out to do something for the day, especially in the summer, a fire is not really that desirable. I love a fire. I prefer to cook on a fire. But the problem with it is time. I have to gather resources. I have to set the fire up. I got to get it going. And then once I cook the meal, whatever it is, then I got to extinguish the fire, broadcast the debris, make sure I don't start the woods on fire, blah, blah, blah. And this is a lot to ask for whenever I'm just stopping for 20 minutes to get something to eat before I shove off again. That's doubling my time. So something quick and easy. And I see it as two distinct, really three. We'll go with three. Three distinct. One, are you cooking, heating, or just boiling something? Okay. Let's start with the big end of this. Cooking. For cooking, you're going to have to carry a stove. And when I say a stove, I'm referring to something kind of like the Coleman's. Big double burner or whatever. This is not a backpacker at that point. This is small enough this could be carried in conveyance real easy, but it's a single burner Coleman type stove. And this type of stove is absolutely fantastic for cooking. Okay? I don't mean heating something up, I mean cooking. Like frying fish, frying small game, baking, that type of thing, where I'm going to be at a camp and I'm going to be cooking raw components that's going to have a relatively long cook time, like 20-30 minutes in order to cook. That's when those big stoves truly shine, because they have a high capacity. Okay? But if I'm wanting to cook but not quite that grandiose, okay, I'm wanting to take some raw components like some raw vegetables or small fish or things I'm going to locate at the time and be able to fry up in a small way. That's where you can step back one to perhaps to the alcohol stoves. Now, as many of you know, I carry the Swiss type stove like this, and it's got an alcohol burner in it that goes with it, and this whole set works well. With this, I could boil, I could roast, I could bake bread, I can do a lot of different things in this relatively compact size. And I have a 30-minute, we'll say, runtime on that TRANGIA. So by regulating it with a damping lid, I can get whatever it is I'm trying to do. But again, am I cooking? Okay, they're small fish or fillets, where I bring the oil up to heat, and that's going to take 10 or 12 minutes to get it up to heat. I fry the fish, and I need a big enough volume so that when I put that cold piece of fish in there and it brings the temperature down on that oil, it doesn't sit there and cool the oil off for a long amount of time before I fish it back out and I put the next. And that's stretching out your cooking. That's where the Coleman really shines, is it has such a long cooking time. I can crank that heat up and be able to work oil or something in fish frying or something like that. That's much better. But if I'm just cooking small stuff, something like cooking hot dogs, or I'm going to fry a hamburger patty, or I'm going to take some sausage and some eggs and cook it, the alcohol stoves work perfectly well for that, because your cooking time is usually 15 minutes at the most. and it's got a 30-minute run time from a full filling, so therefore that would work best. What about one step down from that? What if I'm in conditions where I can't have a fire, just flat out and out? A lot of you guys out west, you're living in a powder keg right now, and this is a lot of years this happens, where you can't have open nothing. Well, then you got to scale it back even more as some way of heating food without causing this kind of problems. Now the real small Trangias like this that weigh nothing, this is meant more for the backpacker, or like the jet boils or something like that. Those little cartridge type work fairly well for that, where it's completely enclosed and very little risk of the fire getting away from you. And all this is just simply a burner with a small anodized aluminum that the stove sits in the middle of, and the top is automatically a pot stand. This will work very well in those kind of conditions where I can be right here at it, make sure I control it, and that fire is not going to get away from me. That's a problem when you're talking about big heat producers. This is going to produce a good deal of heat, but it's very localized, very focused. So for boiling, or for the scrambled eggs right quick or something, right here, this would be a very good choice. And it weighs next to nothing. Fuel is readily available, easy to get, and it's something that works well in a camp or a backpack setting, because the big advantage to this type of fuel is it's alcohol. So if I accidentally spill it all into my stuff, all I gotta do is air it out and it'll evaporate out without any real bad damage to my gear. Gasoline or something, yeah, that could be a problem. But the alcohol stoves have a distinct advantage in that. Now, what about the wood stoves? And I can hear a lot of you saying, because those are very popular right now. And I really like the wood stoves. I really do. And we're talking about the small flat ones that fold up to flat pieces that are usually stainless or something like that, or even titanium. And then you come out and they go together in a slot and form a square with a grate in it that I can build a small fire in and put it on. Those are extremely fuel efficient, and I personally don't have one. But you guys out west, that would be a viable option too, as you can pick up at your campsite pine needles, pine cones, small sticks, etc., and just carry some sort of something to get it going. You know, a wet fire cube or a barbecue lighter. Drop down there on fire and then add extra to it of raw materials. Works just fine. Again, for quick, because it's going to be focused, it's going to be small, and whenever I'm done eating, it's burned out and it's nothing but ash. I can then make sure that's not going to spread a fire. That is a very efficient method. Now what I do instead of that, if I'm not going to tote any kind of stove, and I'm going to make an open air, is I'm going to do it with tent stakes. I'm simply going to take 3 tent stakes and put in the ground just far enough apart where I can put my pot on them and my pot can be secured. And then beneath that, I'll make a small twig fire and set the pot up on it and let it heat up. No real stove, just let it sit on the very ground, focus the heat up, cook what I want to do, eat my meal. By the time I'm done eating my meal, it's burned out completely to ash. Then bury that and make sure it's stone cold out. Pull the 3 stakes out, let them cool down, put them back in the bag and throw them in the pack. Quick and easy. That is the most down and dirty stove I know, is 3 tent stakes and a small fire underneath. Now, let's step back even further. You're trying to teach your little ones or something. All of these stoves and any fire or heat producer is dangerous. We just need to put that out there straight up. And you want to be right there with them. So if you're trying to teach your young ones to be able to cook like this, of course the first thing is usually marshmallows on a campfire, okay? And then it'll be how to boil or roast a hot dog. And then a cup or something out there and you boil it. And then it's wrapping stuff up in aluminum foil and putting it in the fire. But when you get to the part that you want them to learn how to use like a little mess kit and heat something up, what I recommend is Sterno. I know, I can hear you. Sterno gets no respect. But Sterno has a great advantage in one thing. It does cook slowly. Sterno is not for cooking. Sterno is for heating. It's just gelled alcohol that burns, and it produces more than enough heat to warm up food. But it's such a slow heating that it doesn't go from warming to burned you know, it's got a wider thing. So they got time to sit there and stir a little and heat up whatever it is. What we used to do was we take like beanie weenies, those small cans of beanie weenies, and we put the little Boy Scout thing on top of 3 tent stakes with a sterno underneath it, and let them sit there and stir it until it was good and warm. You know, test it. You know, take one, taste it, see if it's warm yet. Wait till everything was warm, and it was a slow enough progression that they learned without having the problem of it being so fast. And that's, I've seen this actual problem where a lot of the backpackers and the adults who are into precision. I want to boil a quart of water in 3 minutes or less. I want that blowtorch going. And that is absolutely fantastic for that, for you and me. For an 8-year-old trying to learn to cook at it, it goes from uh-oh to burned, like that. So we need a slow transition. That's where Sterno is great. Sterno is also good to heat up food you've already got. For example, say I got a can of, right out of the store, cooked food. This is barbecue. And I just want to make a couple of barbecue sandwiches and warm them up. Sterno, can't spill, easy to carry. It's something that I could put 3 tent stakes, like I said, sticking up. On top of it, put my little heating pot, dump in my food, and I can be setting up my camp, come back and stir it. Keep setting up camp, come back and stir it. And over 10-15 minutes, it'll heat this up. It works about as well as the military flameless ration heaters of heating it up, okay, without burning it so fast. And therefore, it's fairly handy for that. It's also handy just to heat up coffee or something like that, where I don't want a big to-do. I just want to put it over it, heat it up. When I get it, blow it out, put the lid onto it, smother it out, be drinking my drink. When I get done drinking my drink or eating my meal, the can's cool, pop the lid in, drop it in the pack, and go on. That is efficient. And it's something where you can open the lid and look and see how much fuel you got left, as opposed to cartridge canisters and stuff like that. And let's talk about those cartridge canister stoves. Those are great. They really are. Their disadvantage is you can't tell how much fuel you got except by picking it up. I used to call it the Camp Swami, going, I think 3 more meals out of that. It's a guess, unless you're actually weighing the can. Because of it's a liquid that converts to a gas, and then that's what powers it. You've got to just kind of go by weight. That's all you've got. Propane. Again, big and bulky, and then you're back to like the Coleman's. That's a cooking stove. Propane stoves are cooking stoves. Those cartridge stoves are pretty much a very rapid boil it stove or heat it. It's not really a good cooking stove because it's hard to regulate and bring the temperature down. And so the going from to burn is like that. And I've seen several of them. It's just a blowtorch blowing, and you got a pot in it, and yeah, that's great. Jet boils are fantastic for heating up water for pouring into your dehydrated rations and meals. That's great for that. It makes coffee, it makes tea, it makes all of that really well, but you can't put a skillet on it, you know, and it's hard to cook something else. And so that's where you got to adapt your needs. I think everyone needs in their woodscraft set. You need a Coleman stove. Why? Emergencies. Because with a Coleman stove and a supply of either propane or liquid fuel, I can cook anything in that kitchen. With a few accessories, I can take my pot right out of the kitchen, walk out on the deck, set that thing up, and be cooking. Down here in my neck of the woods where we have hurricanes where the power may be out for a week, that's a real advantage, isn't it? I can also get an adapter where it will run off of my gas tank for my propane grill, and so I can run it and use it as the de facto kitchen during such crises, you know, for a week or more, easily. One step down, I carry alcohol stoves, and I also have that single burner Coleman. If we're going to do a fish fry on the creek bank, it's going to be that single burner Coleman. I can put a good sized pot of oil up there and be able to fry multiple fish at relatively rapid succession without having a lot of cool down or problem. And by the time I get the fish done and etc., about the time I'm running out of fuel. So it's a good time. The alcohol stoves like my Swiss Army one and my small TRANGIA, those are meant for the take along on a camp out where I'm going to do a little cooking, heat up something, or I want the possibility of it. Sterno, great for teaching the young and for just simply heating it. It's also a good one to put into your bug out bag in your car, because with a Sterno, a couple of Sternos, which there are two of them for like $5. I can sit there and I can heat up soups or something like that in a crisis situation, broke down the side of the road where I cannot gather resources. I just have what I got right here, you know, and that will produce more than enough heat with a canteen cup and a little something on top of it to hold it up, to heat up and give me something if it's cold and I need that type of sustenance. Just wanted to share this with you. Oh, and of course, the wood stoves. The wood stoves are very popular and a real good choice, especially if you're going to be somewhere where you can gather the resources. You just have to realize that I have to be able to gather the resources. And when it's been storming for 2 days just about non-stop and you're trapped in your tent where there's nothing out there but sopping wet, you know, having some little stove or something that I can get up under a predetermined area and heat up some warm chow or something is a real asset. Hope this gives you some ideas, guys. Please leave any questions or comments below. And thank you very much for supporting my channel. Do me a favor, hit that like, share, and subscribe button before you go. And until next time, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.